Hello everyone, this is Matt Maynor, and thank you for attending the KC Fire Track Club introductory meeting. This meeting will be identical to the meetings that we had the first two meetings, so if you were able to attend one of those, this is the same presentation with the exception, of course, that I am the only one presenting this. This is a screen capture of our presentation, and for those of you who were not able to attend, as I said, this is a screen capture, so I'll be handling all the introductions. We had our coaches at the previous meetings and they were able to introduce themselves, but in this particular case, it's just me today. Again, this is Matt Maynor and I'm one of the coaches here. I'm with the KC Fire Track Club and I handle the middle distance, javelin, and relays. And you can see that we have pretty much coaches to cover most of the major areas in track and field with just a few minor exceptions. My wife, Bethany Maynor, will handle the communications and admin for us. So if you get anything through our team app, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes, that will come from her almost positively. And then any Facebook communications generally will come from her as well. David Grace coaches the sprints, hurdles, throws, and relays. His wife, Aressa Grace, does long jump, hurdles, and sprints. Dalwin Hodgkin coaches the sprints for us. Matt Benson is our conditioning and race strategy coach. And Scott and Brenda Perea work with our distance runners, and Kayla Tarr will work with our throwers, our shot and disc throwers specifically. So those are our coaches. We may have one or two more coaches join us at various times throughout the year, but these are the coaches that will be there on a weekly basis. So for communications, as I said, we use something called Team App, and you can see the green logo there, the green icon with the white T there, and that is the Team App's logo on your app store. You can look for that. In our version of the Team App, the KC Fire Track Club, you can see there on the left. And what we use that for is we use that for basically our real-time communication. So any critical information, whether it be inclement weather, meet registration deadlines, where we're at a particular track meet. If maybe it's a big meet, it might be a little confusing as to where we're at, or that way you won't have to walk around the entire track and field area looking for us. So we'll usually put out information regarding that. Obviously you can contact us via our emails or phone numbers as well, and if your son or daughter works with a specific event coach and you have some questions for them, they can obviously get their number and provide that information to them. So for our practices, we practice at Discovery Middle School in Liberty Monday, Wednesday, and some Fridays at 6 p.m. And what we mean by some Fridays is Fridays will be an optional practice day after the first 3 weeks. So for the first 3 weeks, we practice 3 days a week, and then after that, they become optional. And what we mean by optional is, of course, every practice is optional. But in this particular case, the first 3 weeks, we do not have a track meet on Saturday, and so we will we'll work those 3 days, and then our Fridays will move to an optional practice in the sense that the athletes can choose to come or not. Parents, if your schedule doesn't allow it, that's completely fine, because our Fridays at that point become very light practices. We'll go through all of our drills and warm-ups. We'll have a very, very light workout, maybe work on some blocks. For our sprinters, for our distance runners, we may just simply run like a mile and call it a day, but we use that time also to talk about expectations for track meets and basically kind of race strategy with the athletes. For practice, we ask that you do not arrive any earlier than 10 minutes before the practice, and pick them up promptly. We will try to finish our practices. We begin at 6 p.m. We will try to have them finished by 7:15 at the absolute latest. Sometimes we'll finish a little bit earlier, around 7. What to bring to practice. So what we would ask is that all the athletes wear some type of a dry fit shirt, if at all possible, especially during the really hot days. That cotton will soak up the sweat and just cling to the athletes, and so it tends to just magnify the heat versus being able to dry easily. We also ask that everyone wear or bring a water bottle. Water bottles and staying hydrated are very important. There is water available in a spigot, but we do ask that the athletes have that with them. That way, if they go to their respective areas, we'll have that right where they're at. We ask also that the parents of the younger kids stay with us at practice, not necessarily right there setting in with practice. I mean, you could be in your car, but at least for the first few weeks to make sure your son or daughter gets acclimated, if you will, to practice. Sometimes we, have kids who, want their parents, maybe they're a little upset or they want to go home or they got injured, something like that. So we just ask that the parents stay there for those first few weeks to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Regarding the weather, we will practice whether it's hot or raining or sunshine or cloudy. The only times we will not practice are some of the obvious ones, very severe weather. So anytime there's a lightning, tornado, things like that, as long as we're clear of lightning within a 10-mile radius of the track, we will continue to have practice. I have an app on my phone that I always have with me that has a lightning strike indicator, and so anytime that I receive a warning on that, we will immediately cease practice and seek shelter. But otherwise, if it's raining outside, we will practice. If it's hot outside, we will practice. The exception to the heat is if there's a heat index above 105. We will not practice. And our first practice begins on April 9th. And essentially, they will go through the end of the season, which for some that attend the Junior Olympics, that last practice would be July 25th. So what events do we have? We obviously pretty much cover every event in track and field, like I said earlier, except for just a few. And so I'm going to talk about the sprints now just for a few seconds. And the sprints consist of the 100, 200, 400, and then the hurdles. And there's both a short series of hurdles and our longer hurdlers. And workouts for our sprinters are going to be really what we call VMAX and speed endurance. So depending on what your event is, if you're a 200, 400 meter runner, you may spend more time on the speed endurance than the actual just all-out maximum velocity. That's essentially what VMAX stands for. For the younger kids in the sprinting, we recommend that they do body weight workouts, and we'll be doing some of those during the season. If you're older than 13 years old, we really do recommend that you begin to lift with free weights or at least on some form of a weight machine, and I know most schools do incorporate that in there. Part of the sprints also includes relays, a 400 meter relay or a 4x1, and then a 4x4, which is the mile relay. So those are some of the events and the things we'll do. And you'll see across every single discipline in track and field, we are constantly working on form or on technique. Those are very, very critical. Of course, we absolutely want to have fun. Sometimes form work or technique work becomes boring, but it is really, really what can set the performances apart from other athletes. Our field events, the field events that we cover, shot, disc, long jump, javelin, and turbo jav. So you can see there the exception is we don't cover high jump. And high jump and pole vault are two of the field events that we do not cover, and part of that is because of some coaching expertise there. Those are very highly technical events, and so we don't have the facilities or the coaches to cover those. We do have facilities we can recommend where your son or daughter can receive training if they want to in those particular areas. Again, on the field events, kind of the same thing. We work a ton on technique and mechanics. A lot of times younger throwers, all they want to do is get out and throw and throw and throw every day. And if we're not throwing with the proper mechanics, the proper footwork, then we can ultimately end up with injury. So we really stress that among our throwers. Sometimes we won't even throw during the day. We'll simply work on our footwork and things like that. Doesn't seem to be very fun, but that's the way we become great throwers. So for our middle distance and distance runners, these workouts will look a lot the same, but they'll vary in degrees of intensity and length of time or distance. So for our middle distance runners, those are the 800 and the 1500 meters. And for the distance runners, they can go up to the 3000 meters. So the younger kids from under 11 years old can only run the 800 or 1500, so that becomes their distance events. For the older kids, they can run up to 3000 meters in length. So a lot of the workouts that we do for them are timed runs, their interval or tempo training. You'll hear speed work. So at various times of the season will dictate what the workout is. Distance runners also have to be fast. They can't only be going slow, so we do work on our speed endurance and our max velocity, or Vmax, with our sprinters on a certain day. So you'll see us doing that, and again, form. So you'll hear this. You'll hear by the end of the track season, parents, you will be able to coach your kids on arms, because we will drill that into them. You see crazy things happen with kids' arms when they get tired. So we want to make sure that we're the best runners we can be, or the best throwers we can be, and that's all about technique and our form. So some of our training that we do from a strength training perspective, obviously we don't need to be as strong as our sprinters, but what we do ask is that the kids every single day after practice will do a front plank and side plank, and then we'll also do some balance drills. And again, those are just to build up some of our core muscle strength and to work on what those muscle groups that a distance runner would need. So to the distance, obviously the 1500 and 3000 meters, again, there's not a huge difference in training between the middle distance and here. Obviously, if you're an 800 meter runner, you're going to be spending a lot of time doing much more intense, shorter work than the 3000 meter runner, who will do a little bit longer, still intense workouts, but maybe not at the speed that an 800 meter runner would. But other than that, the middle distance and distance runners workouts will look very similar. So our club affiliation and our schedule. We are affiliated with the AAU. The AAU is the oldest and largest governing body for amateur sports in the country. At one point in time, back in the early 1900s, they were the essentially Olympic committee, selecting all the athletes to go run in the Olympics. So they've been around for a long time, and we are affiliated with them. We are also affiliated with USATF, but in this particular case, we run our meets with the AAU. And you can see our meets here. The first 4 meets on our calendar, those from April 28th through May 19th, are actually what we call our developmental meets. And those are meets that for our competitive runners, they're the meets where you begin to kind of see where you stack up against the competition, at least in our city, in our district. And so this will give you a really good indicator of the competitive level that your son or daughter may be at. Now, we'll have some other meets on our calendar. Right now, a few of them are not on there, but once they become available, we'll get those posted out there. For our athletes who are on the recreational path, there will be some other meets that you can run. One of them is the Sunflower Games and the Show Me Games. Obviously, those are 2 different dates, but those are the state games, respectively, of Kansas and Missouri. And for those rec athletes, the reason we want to put those meets on the calendar is because even though we as coaches may not attend those meets, they are still very good meets to go and compete in, have fun, and in a lower stress environment, a little bit lower competitive in nature. So we hope to have 3 or 4 more meets on the calendar as well. For our competitive athletes, there are also qualifying meets. And what we mean by qualifying is that you have to qualify at a certain place in order to progress to the next meet. So our AAU district meets at El Dorado, Kansas, and William Chrisman High School are respectively the same meet. So you do not need to attend both. You can if you wish, but you only need to participate in one to be able to advance to the next round of meets, and that's in Joplin, and that's the AAU region meet. So the top 16 athletes from El Dorado or William Chrisman, the AAU district meet, the top 16 in each age group in each event will advance to the meet at Joplin at the regional meet. And from there, the top 6 athletes plus the top 4 in the multi-event. So if you have a son or daughter who is, for instance, doing the decathlon or heptathlon, pentathlon, the top 4 of those athletes in each age group advance on to the Junior Olympics. And then the very last meet, obviously, is the Junior Olympics. That's the national meet. And every single year it is at a different location. This particular year it is at Des Moines, Iowa, at Drake University, an absolutely beautiful track. So if your son or daughter has an opportunity to go there, we highly encourage you to do it. It is one of those kind of life-changing moments where you walk into, a huge track stadium and you're running on some of the best tracks in the country and where some of the best athletes have run. So it's a pretty fantastic opportunity. So next I wanted to talk a little bit about our club and about how we operate. So we are a nonprofit club. All of our coaches volunteer their time. And as such, we're not like a Parks and Rec where we have a huge budget backing us up, either from a school or tax funding, something like that, or with a church. Some clubs are affiliated with churches. Everything we raise through the fees goes right back into actually running the club. We have some fantastic businesses that have partnered with us over the last couple years. And one of those, obviously, you can see is Dorman Chiropractic. That's a chiropractor that my family and I go to. They do great work help keeping us together. Sonrisa Salon and Day Spa, they're a fantastic green certified spa, the only one in Kansas City. So they've supported us for 2 years in a row and have been very, very great about what they do. Warrior's Best Friend, fantastic organization. What they do is they provide service dogs. They actually adopt and train the service dog. They spend about $10,000 per dog, and they train those dogs, and they donate those to a veteran with PTSD to help manage their symptoms of PTSD and just provide that companionship for them. Tutor Doctor came on with us last year, a great organization. If your son or daughter needs tutoring in a particular area or simply wants to excel in an area, Tutor Doctor is a great organization to look up and to get your son or daughter hooked up with. Shoal Creek Chiropractic, again, another great doctor in the area. They've worked with several of our athletes and really helped them out. Flash Performance is our training partner, and they graciously donated their facility for the winter for us to train for indoor. So if you guys want any speed and agility or increased strength training like that for youth, they are a fantastic organization in Pleasant Valley. And so how can you help us? Well, really what we're asking is, who do you know? These businesses have partnered with us. As you can see there on the screen, since we do donate our time, and like I said, we're not backed by any larger organization, everything we have goes back into the club, and we are very serious about wanting every athlete to be able to participate regardless of their financial situation. And so every year we actually either donate, give away about $5,000 in fees, from reduced fees or completely free. And so we want every athlete to be able to participate. And it would be great if we had thousands of dollars to give away, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, and have a huge club to really help as many kids as we can. But it's just not there. It takes a lot of money to run the clubs, whether it be through purchasing equipment and the facilities, the meet fees, and things like that come into play. So, what we're asking is, who do you know? So, if you know of someone who owns a business, maybe it's someone who owns their own insurance agency, or it's someone who has another retail business, we would love to be able to partner with them, a dentist or an orthodontist that you know that supports youth athletics. We would love to be able to partner with them, to have them sponsor us, and to help more kids come and join this club. So that's our real desire. Uniforms and registration. Well, obviously, you're watching this, and hopefully you'll be able to register soon, either in person through mailing the forms in. That's obviously a possibility. The address is on the website. We have the capability to take payment for the registration on the website. If you do need some special accommodations in the sense of maybe you have 2 or 3 kids, we do offer multi athlete discounts, and just contact me, contact Matt. My phone number's on the website, and we can make arrangements for that. If you need to make some form of like an installment payment over a couple months, that's completely fine as well, but we just don't have that function set up on the website. So please just reach out to us and contact us, and we can make those arrangements. For the forms, obviously they're online. You'll actually be redirected once you register to that page, plus there's a link right above where you sign up, where the pricing table is. Also, if you need those forms, if you've misplaced them and you can't find them on the website, just contact us and we'll email you the link out. For our uniforms, we do not have online payment processing for those because there's so many options among the uniforms. So what we ask there is that you either mail a check to us, or again, we can make special arrangements for you to pay online. Just contact me and we'll have to set that up, but that's a fairly quick setup, and that can be done via email through PayPal is how we can process those payments. Our uniform ordering will close March 19th, so that's coming up very quickly. The reason is because our uniforms are custom ordered and custom developed for us, so we actually have to have a fairly long lead time to get those in for the first meet. So we just ask that everybody get those orders in by actually the 16th, so I can have time to get all that organized and process that and send that order off to our manufacturer on the 19th of March. We will also open a Spiritwear store and allow parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles to support their athletes with some fan gear. So that will be open very soon. We'll also be running a sale for the first few weeks of that store opening up, so that way people can get the best price available on those pieces of Spiritwear. Well, that is the presentation for today. I hope everyone got all the questions answered. Again, if you did not, please just reach out to us via the website or Facebook, and we will make sure to return your email or call as soon as we can. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Again, this is Matt with KC Fire Track Club. Thanks.